Welcome, everybody, to Between the Lines. I'm Sarah M. Eden here with Esther Hatch, Sean Ann Bessie, and Tracy Hunter Abramson. 2 years ago, almost to the day, one of our most popular episodes of all time aired here on Between the Lines, entitled simply Kissing Scenes. Those of you not joining us on YouTube, I'm just going to tell you there is pain in my expression. That episode was great for listeners. It was a lot of fun for 1/4 of this podcast. It was extremely traumatic for me personally. But here we are revisiting this topic and inflicting further emotional damage on those of us who are still recovering from the last Kissing Scenes episode. Happy Valentine's Day.
Yay.
So to begin with, I think I'm going to do a Kissing Scenes roll call to see if any of us have changed teams or shifted a little in our approach. Tell me in one sentence your feelings on writing kissing scenes. Ready, go.
I don't know which is worse, writing kissing scenes or action scenes.
I am still 100% team kissing scene, but I've written a lot now, so trying to get them unique is trickier.
Yes.
And I wish I didn't have to write them, but I understand why I do.
So Sean has had some time to reflect and reach a place of peace about this.
Oh, I don't think I'd go all the way to peace.
Okay. I was hoping we had some kind of breakthrough.
Hoping there was hope in the future.
Oh, my feelings are still ew. I don't get it. Since that episode aired, between then and now, I was on a panel at a conference about kissing scenes with our very own Tracy. It was one of the most hilariously uncomfortable experiences I've ever had anywhere.
Sarah never disappeared under the chair. It was a close call.
Oh, guys, I was just like, and this is why kissing scenes aren't my favorite. Just talking about them makes me uncomfortable. I probably should bring that up in therapy. Okay, I have brought that up in therapy, but that's another topic. Okay, so we're basically all still on the same teams we were before. Esther loves kissing scenes. Sean understands why they're necessary. Tracy's like, it's yet another difficult thing I have to do. Sarah is ew. So yeah, basically the same.
Sums it up.
That last episode was led by Esther, so it took a very enthusiastic and positive approach to the idea of writing scenes in which people kiss. Y'all, I am in charge now. So we are not taking that approach this time. I'm going to ask the next question, and it was skipped over in the famous Kissing Scenes episode, and it needed to be asked. The question is, why are kissing scenes the absolute worst things any author can be asked to write? Legit question.
It is a totally legit question. And I am going to say that it is because they are so important to the characters and to the readers that as an author, you feel so much pressure to get them just right. They have to express feelings without words, and an author, that's our job description. We use words, and so we have to express it in this emotion in a very different way, and it's really hard to come up with fresh ways of doing that. There are only so many kiss type words out there. So it's really, really hard.
Yeah, what Sean said. I mean, I think it's similar to writing the climax of a book. It's like you've been building up to this moment and you want the reader to be satisfied, but you need to do it in a way that is fresh and unique for these characters in this situation for this story. So it's hard to, the more you write, I think it becomes more and more difficult. I honestly didn't mind writing that much when I started. And the more I've done, I'm like, how am I going to make this different? So Now, Esther should be learning this challenge too, because she's not written a lot.
I definitely is getting a little trickier to be unique, or maybe unique isn't the right word, but every once in a while I'm like, wait, did I do that in a different kissing scene? Like you have to be careful of that, I guess, is more my concern. But as far as why they're the worst, well, first, I mean, they're not, but
they are, Esther.
But maybe the hard thing might be, besides the pressure to get it just right, is that once you write them and they're published, you can't go back and rewrite them and fix them even more and tweak them a little bit better. Because I definitely tweak and rewrite my kissing scenes over and over to try and get them just right. So yeah,
And
when
you
they become
usually do.
finalized, that's kind of the worst.
Oh, yeah, you're like, sorry guys, this is all you're getting. See, and mine, I inevitably turn in books. I think this came up in our last episode, and the editors always have to write back and say, a kissing scene can't be a 5-word sentence. I'm like, I fought for those 5 words. They're the worst.
And it was more than kissy kissy.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's 2 words. That's 2 words.
My
And I'm right there with
placeholder
you,
is
Sarah.
literally just kissy kissy. So I feel like if I have more than doubled that, I should be getting a lot more credit.
Absolutely.
But I think one of the reasons for me they're the absolute worst is because I know I struggle to write them. Like I know I do. I will admit that. But you can also, as a writer, sense them coming, if that makes sense. Like even if you haven't planned this scene's going to be a kiss, or there has to be one in the next few, you can feel it coming and building. And I have tried so many times to convince my characters that kissing is gross, that they should have a logical conversation, shake hands, and move on. And they won't do it, which I think is another reason why kissing scenes are the worst. It's one of those moments where my characters refuse to listen to me, and that's maddening. So yes, Esther, they're the worst. Oh my gosh. Okay, so my dislike for writing kissing scenes is incredibly well known, in part because I talk about it a lot. And when I post about it on social media, it's interesting to me how many people either haven't heard me say before how much I hate writing kissing scenes and are really shocked, or who will say things like, well, then why don't you just not write a kissing scene? Like, why don't you just not have your characters kiss? And I think, if only it were that simple. Like they do, and I know they need to, and I hate it. Like I can't get around it. It's one of those necessary things in a book. But it has been suggested to me on more than one occasion to just not do it, to just not have kissing scenes, to just skip them. So I am here today. The whole reason we're talking about this is because when I was coming up with these questions yesterday, I literally am a half a page probably from having to write a kissing scene. So I would like you ladies to now give me some very good ways and reasons to avoid a kissing scene, either temporarily or altogether. Sell it, ladies. I need a good reason to give my editor for there to be no kissing in this book.
Okay, Sarah, I was under the impression that this was a kissing scene podcast episode. And I feel like
kissing scene
what
podcast.
we're actually doing is a not kissing scene.
Yes, guys, I'm changing the title.
Yes, so now I'm just all kinds of confused. But so in my honest opinion, Sarah, and you might not like it, is if you're a romance author, I think it needs to be done. I tried to be creative and try to think of some way we can convince someone that you don't need one. And I think the main win would be as if you didn't write a romance book. So like self-help, not about kissing.
I probably could use a self-help book about kissing.
Yeah. Maybe a historical novel, but not a romantic historical novel. Maybe, I don't know. So the only way I can think of, and I actually would totally be on board for this, like if it was a romance, is if it was a continuous story between multiple books. And maybe the first one, you wanted them to kiss so badly and it somehow didn't happen. And therefore it leads you into the second book. kind of like Anne of Green Gables, how they drew that out for multiple
Right.
books. So those are my only ideas.
Expect in the end, I would find myself having to write the ultimate kissing
Yeah.
scene.
Oh, you're building it up. So if you want
Oh.
that pressure,
Guys, the discouragement is building. Esther's message is, Sarah, you did this to yourself, and the only way out of it becomes a bigger problem in the end. Okay, Sean, I'm depending on you. How do I get out of this?
Oh gosh, Sarah, I'm going to fail you. Because what I'm hearing here is an echo of the sentence that I gave you earlier, where I don't like it, but I kind of understand why they have to be there. So the only thing I could think of was the almost kiss. You know, you see it all the time in those Hallmark movies where it's like they're just about to kiss and then someone interrupts them, or you know, the dog chews their ankles or whatever it is, and they get interrupted, they're off the hook, the author's off the hook. But, and this goes back to what Esther just said about doing a series, the problem is, the downside to that approach is when you get a little bit further down the road, your readers have been waiting and your characters have been waiting for so long. It has to be the most fabulous kissing scene ever when it actually happens. So there's no just like sneaking in a little one at the end.
So
Not
the
gonna
fact that
happen.
I happily jotted down animal interference, knowing I had just found the answer to all my
Yes.
problems.
Yes, animals,
same boat.
children. Yes,
I have
someone
to make it
ringing the doorbell.
bigger now. Couldn't
Yeah.
it, like, what if I made the title of the book Almost Kiss? And they
Ah.
literally almost kiss
There
the
you
whole time
go.
and never
How
actually
about-
do.
Hey,
I mean,
almost
I told
kiss of a
them-
stranger.
Yes.
yeah.
Hey, that book started
Yes.
with a kissing scene, so y'all.
Yeah. This is confusing
Or
to me,
how
Sarah.
about-
You just boom got that one done. What's
I know. How about
You'll
almost
notice it wasn't
kiss
lovey-dovey,
self-help?
though. Yeah, Sarah needs that self-help book on kisses, guys. Okay, Tracy, you are my last hope. How do I get out of this?
I think that gunfire always breaks the mood. I'm just, now I know you don't all write suspense, but it works for me. Like if
Don't.
somebody's shooting, usually you're going to duck rather than
Yeah,
kiss.
that makes
I'm
sense.
just
This
putting
is
that
a
out.
good idea.
I could work
Maybe-
a canon into this
Yeah.
book. Is that
Yes.
just as
Okay.
effective?
Anyway,
So I had to rule out animal interference, but unexpected ordinance. That ought to do it. Okay.
Yeah.
I like
You're
this.
still left with the whole. What are you going to do with them at the end?
There can only be so many cannons. Is this the warning I'm being offered?
This is the warning. Yes, yes.
And that right
we
there
tried to help you,
is a
Sarah. We
chapter
tried.
in that self-help book. There can
If
only
it
be
was
so
a
many cannons.
movie, the canon could symbolize that they're kissing off screen. Could you do
Yes,
that
like
in
fireworks.
a book? Yeah.
I think it may be what we may really need to do is all of us need to get together when we're not on a recording session and have a writing session so that Sarah can commiserate as she works through the kissing scene.
Oh, yes.
Or just have Esther coach us through it. I mean,
That
we've
would work
got the
too.
resource right there.
Well,
them to
at
me.
a get-together writing session a few years ago, it was Esther, were you part of this group that bullied me into writing a kissing scene?
I don't think
I know
so.
Julianne Donaldson was. I think it's actually Julianne Donaldson, Renee Clark,
I
and
think it
Jillian
was
Perry. So
Renee.
had Esther been there,
Yeah.
she would have joined in the bullying. She's a kissing
I would
scenes
have.
bully. Well, I was complaining loudly about a kissing scene, and they took advantage of my ginger Irishness and got me to stubbornly agree to write an amazing kissing scene in the book I was working on. It did turn out great, but I can be bullied into kissing
Yeah.
scenes, and this was not something I was ready to discover about myself.
I'm
think
just
I
thinking
might have
that's maybe what
actually-
it needs.
I might have
think you were
actually been there.
Esther. Yeah,
I think I was there, but I think I didn't know you didn't like writing because this was a long time ago.
she was
And
still in shock.
I was
Yes,
I
probably
was just in
Esther.
shock to be around you
Yeah.
guys, like honestly. So I was just like totally unaware of, and I might have gotten there late and missed the conversation.
You
even,
might
but
have.
Yeah.
Yeah, kissing scene turned out great, but there's been a lot of self-reflection ever since. I didn't realize how weak I really was.
So we just need to bully you. And next
That's it.
That's what
Who
I'm
knew
hearing.
that was the trick? Bullying Sarah about kissing scenes. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, I think I've had to admit to myself I can't not write kissing scenes, especially since I chose the genre I'm writing in. Did this to myself. So while all of us are slogging through kissing scenes, unless we're Esther, who loves them, I'm going to ask a little encouragement. What is one not terrible kissing related experience that you've had in the couple of years since we did our last episode? Notice I didn't say it had to be terrific. I don't ask the impossible here, but maybe just something that didn't damage you emotionally. Give me something positive.
Okay, let me see. I wrote the first kissing scene I wrote in A Provincial Peer, and that book actually releases in May. It was easier to write than most, and I thought about it a little bit, trying to figure out why. And I think it was because the kiss came as a total surprise to both of the characters. And so instead of focusing on the build-up, it was more their stunned reactions afterwards, and that was just fun. So
I like that.
So yeah, so that I think was a positive experience, as positive as I have gotten recently with kissing
will
scenes.
Take it.
Yes.
So I mean, most of mine are pretty positive, especially by the end. so I, as you said this, I had to sort through. First of all, like my very first ever kiss scene that's not published, took me by surprise because I was nervous and I didn't know that I would like writing them, and actually wrote it like 2 a.m. Like woke up, got out of bed, it was in my head, and I wrote it down and I went, okay, I like this. So that's, I think, a lot where my love of kissing scenes come from. I didn't know that I would love it until I did it, and I really enjoyed it. Recently, though, I have a book that is in final edits, and I'm really happy about the kissing. It's kind of unique, and I know we talked about trying to make them unique and things, but this one's different, and hopefully a way that people will be okay with. But it was kind of inspired by a painting that my husband and I saw in the MoMA, and we both just loved it. It was kind of haunting and beautiful. And I'm not going to say the name of the painting because it will spoil the kiss scene. but after the book comes out, I'll probably post a picture of it and just be like, hey, I'm not that weird. Like, this didn't come out of my brain. It was inspired by this work of art. But anyway, so I'm excited about that one.
I love that.
Very cool. Yeah. So the one I was thinking about sharing, I think I shared last time, but I did actually have another one happen recently. That a book that I just finished editing, it was getting ready to go to the board at Shadow Mountain, and the president of the company was reading the book, and he actually put a comment on this one line right after the kiss, and it was like just like the dialogue right after it, and he's like, great line. I was like, okay, it couldn't have been too bad because I got a compliment on the part that came after it. So I was pretty excited that it wasn't horrible, especially because it was one of those cover kisses. So, because I don't only get kissing scenes, I sometimes have cover kissing scenes.
Wait. Oh, okay. Yes, that sounds amazing.
It's part of their cover. Yeah. I've never seen a kiss on any of Tracy's covers.
I know, but now I'm like, undercover kissing. I need that.
Undercover kissing.
I was like panicking. Wait, they'd put a kiss on a cover?
Yes.
If they put a kiss on the cover, could you not have it inside? I mean,
Ooh.
could you?
I just put a little footnote. Please see cover.
There we go.
You just gave me the best out ever.
Yeah. Wait. There is a book that does that. Have you read The Princess Bride? He totally skips it and makes you mail in for the kiss scene, right?
Yes.
Isn't that what he does?
Was it that
I feel
one? He did a lot of fun stuff like that.
Yeah, no, but I think
book.
it's like, I think that's
Such
where
a
he
fun
says
book.
like the kiss was so very, very good. If you want to read it, you have to mail. I think there's something in that book where you have to mail in to
Totally
get
sounds like something that he would do in that book. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Great book. So my positive experience with kissing scenes in the last 2 years, guys, I actually have one. Are you shocked? You should be shocked.
Yes.
So last year I finished my first ever screenplay, and it's pretty great if I do say so myself. I discovered something fantastic about kissing scenes in screenplays.
Oh.
You know how in my manuscripts, I have a placeholder. I just write kissy kissy. And then I know I have to come back and finish it later. In a screenplay, you get to essentially put
Oh
kissy
my-
kissy, and the
Oh
actors
my.
and the director have to figure it out.
That is perfect for you.
Best day ever. I actually reached out to a screenwriter who was, helping me and giving me advice on all of this. And I said, how much detail do I have to put in the moment where the two characters kiss? And they said, none. They'll figure that out.
Nice.
I could have wept. It was the best day ever. So,
And now
that was
Sarah
my
will never
best
write
day.
another book. She's
I know.
going
Again,
straight
She's
to
moving
movies.
on to
screenplays.
screenplays.
Although I did text our 2 lead actors and said, no pressure, but I'm giving you no direction and it's the happiest day of my life, but don't mess it up.
Don't mess it up.
Anyway, it'll be great. But that was my happy discovery. If you write a screenplay, you can literally put kissy kissy.
Okay, but speaking of awkward, like it's hard to write them. That would be hard as an actor, I'm sure, too, to be like, okay, we got to get this moment just right and the
Yeah.
climax just
Yeah.
right. And yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
you shift that weight of responsibility
Yeah.
to someone
To
else.
them.
Yeah, which is
I
great
agree.
for you.
Yeah, I will be on set, so I suspect there'll be a lot of awkwardness coming from me. I
Yeah.
probably need to find someone to document that. But
I volunteer.
Just like
awesome.
zoom in on her face and we'll give like
Exactly.
snapshots of
As
the
long as I'm
cringe.
not giggling in the corner, I think I can get away.
Everyone else will be like watching what's happening, and I'll be sitting there zoomed in on Sarah.
Perfect.
I know my
No,
role.
it'll be the worst. They might actually ask me to leave. It'll be fabulous.
We can't concentrate with her back there.
Exactly. Sarah, you're making this awkward for everyone. Like, that's what I'm here for. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, there we have it. Kissing Scenes Revisited, or Esther's suggested title, Not Kissing Scenes. Whether we love them or not, they are part of what we do. We're all romance writers or suspense with romance, but they show up in just about every genre. So plenty of writers out there face this same dilemma. Write them well, write them unique, but make them work. So I'm glad for the encouragement, even though none of you gave me a good excuse to never write them again. I at least feel like maybe I can try. But just as Esther got some inspiration from a painting, I'm always looking for inspiration in written books. So the question I have for our listeners out there, have you read any great books recently that had a really well done kissing scene that you'd like to pass along? I will call it research. Esther will call it enjoyable reading. It'll be fantastic. But list those in the comments, either on our social media or this video on YouTube. We love seeing them. I promise I will look through all the comments so that I can find good research. Thanks for joining us here on Between the Lines, even though this was the world's most awkward conversation. Thank you for being here, and we will see you next time.